Hi guys, Paul Pluta channel. Remember, like, subscribe, and tell your friends. Today, I got a very interesting question. It's regarding insurance for high-end watches. And it's a paid review. Hello Archie, aka Paul, aka the Pontiff, aka Big Boy. Sent you $20 because I know you don't do shit for free. I've been a fan of yours and the channel ever since I got into watches. When the rubber band on my cheap quartz should have broke and I decided I wasn't buying that cheap again. Given that I worked truck crew at Walmart, I didn't want to ruin a nice series of watches, nor could I afford one. So after some time and a few more shitters later, I ended up with what I think is a decent watch for now, a Seiko SKX009. I don't want to drag this on too much, so I won't get into the models I'm interested in. Something that's always scared me about having an expensive watch is the idea of someone mugging you. Have you ever worried about this? Also, what is your opinion on insurance for high-end pieces such as the ones in your collection? Thanks, Blake. Thank you so much, Blake. I gotta tell you there, this is a very good question there. What do I think about being mugged? And this is an interesting thing. It's a very interesting thing. I really do worry about this sometimes. Sometimes it's mainly the burglary. See, that's the reason I don't keep my beautiful expensive watches in my home. I keep them in a bank safe. So I normally only keep a couple of steel stunners at home. I don't want too many at home, and that's the reason, because burglars. Now, I gotta tell you, honestly, to be honest with you, I honestly think there's nothing wrong in getting one good steel watch and keeping it for life there. Now, as far as being mugged, that's something that really doesn't happen a lot in Australia. We don't have huge mugging problems. In bad parts in town maybe, but we really try and avoid that. I've only ever been approached once. I was only ever approached once, and this was when I was in Melbourne, Australia. And I had someone who said, "Hand over your briefcase." So I just threw it into his mouth. And basically, I threw it into his mouth, and it pulled out his front tooth. It pulled out his front tooth there. It took me about 2 months to pick it out of the briefcase there. But all I know is that that's about $10,000 in dental work to fix that bastard up again. So, yeah, I think he's learned his lesson. Look, what do I do being mugged? Well, Jesus, I tend to like steel sports watches, and a lot of the watches I wear, you wouldn't know, unless you're a watch person, that they were necessarily valuable. Everyone has a watch. Well, everyone, hard to say. We're moving away from watches, but I mean, if you've got an Explorer, I think realistically, getting mugged and that there, I would really say to you, sometimes in life, you've got to enjoy yourself. I mean, we are only on this planet for a short time. How many years do you live for? You know, how many years do you live for? So from 0 to 20, we're basically 0 to 20, we're going to school, we're getting educated, we don't really have a job, nothing that pays that much. Once we're in our 20s, you should buy yourself a watch you love. I'm not saying to yourself, buy a $100,000 Patek, but I mean something like an Omega Speedmaster Man on the Moon. Wouldn't that be a great, cool thing for a man to take through life and, you know, set his moral compass and set as a guide for, hey, I want best, I believe in quality. Wouldn't that be just such a cool thing to wear and enjoy? And yeah, you don't want to joke around with it or muck around with it. Yeah, you got to be careful. This is an expensive watch. But hey, what is life about? What is life about there? It's really, we're on this planet. We need to have some quality. We need to have some quality to enjoy a bit. I mean, what's the point if you're going to be stingy and just go for the cheapest option constantly in life, I mean, hey, if you are mugged, we'll deal with it. We'll deal with it when we get to it. But, I mean, you got to have some pride and have some joy. There's a lot worse ways you could spend money than on a luxury wristwatch. So, you're asking me, something I'd always be scared of would be having such an expensive watch, is the idea of someone mugging you for it. Well, a lot of people don't know what an expensive watch is. And if you don't tell them, hey, my Rolex, you're probably not going to get into trouble. And if you're the sort of person who could afford a Rolex or a decent watch, you're probably not living in that part of town that is full of crack hoes, and other undesirables. See, sometimes the people we associate with, birds of a feather flock together. If we're dealing with unemployed bums, homeless, and other undesirable elements in society, maybe, if we a rung or two above the very base, maybe we're not going to be robbed and mugged at every turn we take there. Have I ever worried about it? Well, I'm a big guy. I mean, you try take it off me, sunshine. You try take it off me, I will try and kill you. That's the honest truth. If you try and take it off me, I will try and kill you. That's basically where it comes from there. Insurance policies, these are very difficult. Look, for insurance, they can be very expensive. You can have it, normally in my country, you have it listed on your home and contents insurance. If you want the item specially listed, meaning that you can take that watch outside the home, and if something happens, it's stolen, you're mugged, or you're in an accident, it's covered, well, that insurance is normally 2 or 3% of the price of the insured value. The retail replacement cost every year is a premium, so that can be damn expensive. My honest opinion is just get a good steel wristwatch, Rolex or an Omega Speedmaster, and wear it. Enjoy it. Enjoy it for what it is. Enjoy it. I mean, do I worry about being I don't normally tend to go to parts of town where they have crack hoes, and other unemployed drug addicts and people like that. I don't really want to be in that sort of part of town there. So my honest advice to you is if you're hanging around people, crack hoes and unemployed drug addicts, maybe it's time to change that kind of friendship base you have there. So no, I don't really worry about it. I always make sure I've got my watch. I always make sure it's safe. I love my wristwatches. I do love my wristwatches, but I don't really worry about them being stolen because, I'm careful. I always make sure I've got it. I don't just take it off and put it down and leave it somewhere. I look after it. So to answer your question there, look, I think if you're careful, you've got to be careful with your possession. It's a damn good, if you've saved up your money and bought an expensive wristwatch, you damn well should be careful with it. It's like the Bregster, okay, the Bregster. So I bought this, and I'm very, very careful. I don't want to damage it. I wouldn't leave it on my desk. I look after my Bregster because that was a lot of coin to me. It was a lot of coin, and I can't afford to just throw thousands of dollars away there. So, but I think it gives me a lot of pleasure having a very expensive watch. I think the payoffs are, it makes me happy, it makes me content. If ever I'm getting the sack from a job, I just look at my watch and say, you might be sacking me, but I got a Breguet on my wrist. You don't even know what you can say to the boss, you don't even know what a Breguet is. I mean, I'm getting the boot and I'm looking at my Breguet. Hey, that's cool, Bubba. So I think honestly, worry about getting mugged. I wouldn't be going into that part of town. I'd be staying away from that sort of thing. Where there's crack hoes and drug addicts and unemployed sort of hoodlums, I'd be staying away from that. You know what I'm sort of saying? That's what I'd kind of be doing. I wouldn't be going into the bad neighborhoods, and that's a very important thing. You want to be careful